Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be giving you my best tips and tricks to looking awake, approachable, refreshed, caffeinated, that's all I can think of, for the times where you're either out partying too late or you're like me and your neighbors blast techno music multiple nights in a row until about 2 a.m. So I'm coming to you pretty sleep deprived right now. I slept 5 hours, not enough for me. I'm like an 8-hour type of girl, so I really did my actual routine on camera for you. This is the makeup I'm wearing the rest of the day. I may or may not be fully with it in this tutorial. I feel like a lot of repetition happened, so just bear with me. Did have some matcha. It helped a little bit. I'm due for my second glass, so let us just begin. So making sure that you do some skin prep is really important. I recommend using whatever face wash is best for your particular skin type, and just going in the shower and really massaging it around your face, taking a minute or so to clean it, not necessarily just to clean the skin, but to also kind of swirl fluids around, stuff like that, to get the plumpness in life back into your shit. But that is what I just did. Now I'm ready to prep for real. When I'm tired, I like to really make sure that I'm not putting a lot of heavy product on my skin. I find that when I use too much foundation or too much whatever, that it really does not look well. It really, my pores just look too emphasized, the fine lines, the tiredness looks extra emphasized, so I tend to lean more toward hydrating products. So to prime today, I'm going to be mixing the Too Faced Hangover primer with the MAC Next to Nothing face color. The Hangover primer really does help to revive my skin. It's actually quite effective, really does what it says. And the MAC Next to Nothing face color is more of a face gloss. It does dry down, so it's not going to be greasy on your skin, but the Too Faced primer does tend to stay a bit hydrating throughout the day. And I feel like this combo really helps to just make the skin look healthy and supple, as if you were well rested, drinking your water, taking your vitamins, and just, generally sleeping. It just gives you a really nice lit from within glow, nothing that looks too artificial, but rather healthy and hydrated. Over that, I'm just using the tiniest bit of my usual IT Cosmetics Illumination CC cream. Like I said, I don't like to pile on my base when I did not get enough sleep. I just feel like it doesn't do anything to help the situation. So I'm just going to be using a light layer of this solely for coverage purposes because I am having quite the breakout. So yeah, just a light layer like this, and when I apply this, I tend to just pull the product down like this, kind of letting it sit on top of the skin, but it's not a thick enough layer to the point where when I emote or move my face, it's really going to separate in any of my fine lines or any porous areas. I do like to let my blemishes shine through just a bit, that way it doesn't look like I try too hard to cover up the fact that I didn't sleep. Dually, if you do want to go in with a full coverage foundation, I recommend not using such a thick layer. If you have like particularly bad blemishes or whatever, do whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. Just try to limit the concentration of it to those blemished areas. I wouldn't go in with like Marc Jacobs foundation and just do the heaviest layer all over. You want to let your skin breathe when it's tired. I feel like it helps it to kind of bounce back, so that's just my suggestion. And building on that, I am going to spot conceal a bit. I'm going to be trying out the Benefit Industrial Strength Concealer. I am in the shade number 1, and I'm just going to be applying this to the areas where I have the most noticeable blemishes. Again, this technique is going to allow you to hide all of your imperfections, but isn't going to kind of suffocate your face. And when I spot conceal, I like to apply it with a flat brush and then blend it in with my fingers. This just helps warm the product up into the skin, helps it sink down, shrink around those blemishes a bit or any redness you have, without giving you the look of, I just spot concealed, here's all the little dots all over my face. Under the eyes, I'm going to be using the same concealer, but first I'm going to go in with this new brightening one by Benefit. This is the Boing Brightening Concealer. It's slightly salmon toned, very oily / emollient, so it's great for sleep-deprived eye bags. Really just peps them right up. It can be a bit intimidating going in with a really lotiony, emollient product under the eyes, because then if you're me, you're worried, is your mascara gonna run down into it throughout the day as your powder kind of starts to mix in with that product, but I find that just setting it really well honestly does the trick. It kind of locks in all of the moisturizing properties of that product into that eye bag region, which I need particularly. If there's any area on your face that you want to really focus the hydration on days where you just didn't get sleep, it's the under eyes. Seriously, even if you're oily, I recommend still focusing a lot of hydration there, because As the day progresses, your eyes are really going to soak that up, and it's going to help make them look more plump, more revived. Another tip to looking really refreshed, if you don't like to layer on concealer beneath the eyes, I recommend building it up right here at this inner corner area of the bridge of your nose. For a lot of us, there is a shadow here. No matter what your nose shape, it just casts a little bit of a shadow on either side. And whenever I build up my concealer here, it really helps to make my eyes look bright all over. I don't know what kind of magical optical illusion this is, but it's definitely my go-to on days where I'm kind of doing this look that I'm doing today, but I know I'm going to be outside running around and I don't want to have to worry about my concealer really creasing. Just focusing it on this area here really helps to offset any darkness you have. Now I'm going to set the face and the under eyes. Usually I would use something very brightening beneath the eyes if I know I'm going to be on camera or doing photo, stuff like that. But for every day, I think if you apply something too brightening under the eyes, it's really going to not only be very obvious that you've packed on a lot of powder, but it's going to make your concealer crease throughout the day, especially when you're using more hydrating products under the eyes. So I'm just going to use a setting powder on the eyes and the face. This one is the Wet n Wild Goodbye Photo Flashback. It's more of a satin matte powder, but you can definitely build it up to be more of a matte finish. I feel like one light layer keeps it more satiny, iridescent. So under the eyes, I'm going to use a little sponge with this, and then on the face, I'm just going to strategically powder the areas I want to be matte. I don't want my entire face to be matte because, as I've said 487 times, too much product on the face really enhances the sleepiness, so I'm just going to be going in like a scientist, you know, just strategically setting my shit. I'm using this little baby sponge by e.l.f. just so that the area doesn't get too set. I don't want this big matte triangle happening here. I want my skin to look dimensional and vibrant, so I'm just using a tiny sponge to help me keep things reined in. Then on the rest of the face, I'm just using this Sigma F10 brush and dotting on the product mainly toward the center here. I always set the jawline here because this is the area where I tend to rest my face on my hands and my makeup really lifts up. So, gotta lock it down. In keeping with the whole I don't want to look too made up vibe, I'm just going to be going in with a little bit of a defining layer of bronzer. Today I'm using this ColourPop and Alexis Ren Topaz pressed highlighter and bronzer. The bronzer is called Golden Moment. It's a very warm toned bronzer, but it has a good wash of yellow throughout it. It's very intense though, so just brace yourself if you're fair like I am. And what I do is shake off the excess and really just swirl this around. I don't want there to be too much definition happening. I don't want a hard line here. I want it to just be almost the illusion of being bronzed. I even take it up toward the apples of the cheeks on days like this just so I look sun-kissed. Going back to that little concealing trick that I told you guys about, do you see how my eyes look very bright and wide and then I have this wash of bronzer coming in? I just look refreshed and awake. That's because I concealed that little shadow right there. Honestly, one of my go-to tips. Just wanted to point it out to you, how it just makes your face look refreshed enough to the point where you can really take your darker products all the way in if you need to. You know, it's like a great alternative to highlighting the inner corner, which for someone like me with really deep set eyes, that just makes me look even more tired. It has like an opposite effect on me, so just focusing that concealer there really helps out a lot. Moving into blush, instead of going with the standard peachy shade, which doesn't really do anything for me one way or the other, it's just, you know, the safe neutral, and also avoiding really bright blush, which can actually make you look more tired. Again, it has one of those rebound effects. I feel like when there's bright blush on my face, it's just like screaming, I'm tired and I hope you don't notice. I tend to use more cool tone blushes, more of a baby pink, something that looks like your cheeks kind of were pinched and is close to your natural blush undertone. A great way to find your natural blush undertone is to literally pinch your cheeks, try to match that shade. That's the shade that's going to make it look like your face is flushed and healthy. I'm going to be dipping into Promise Ring by Makeup Geek and just dancing this around the apples. On days like today, I tend to keep my blush right here, right in the apples, because it enhances that youthful vibe, refreshed vibe. Kids always look the most rested, so that's what I'm trying to emulate here. Make me look 7 again with no worries in life, please. For illuminator, I try to pick a refreshing color rather than just a glossy vibe, which is shocking given that this is me. Usually I'm all about looking just wet-faced, but I like to kind of match the tone of my illuminator to my blush on days like this, that way it looks more pointed. Might draw the eyes away from the eye bags and over to the Bitch and highlight, you never know. So I'm going to be dipping into the Becca Light Chaser highlighter for face and eye in the shade Rose Quartz Flashes Seashell, and I'm just going to swirl this along the high point like this. Also going to dust it along the brow bone here. Not connecting them today because I just feel like that's going to enhance the tiredness here if I have like a wash of glossiness. Leaving this gap of more matte skin is going to add some dimension, which is going to distract a bit, I feel, from the eye bag. It's going to make it look like, oh, that's just her amazing cheekbone. You can even take it to the apples like this and tie it into the blush a bit. That way it kind of carries up whatever you are comfortable with. Not going to be applying it above the brows and the forehead today. When I'm really tired or hungover, no matter how much hydration I do, no matter how much water I drink in the morning, my forehead lines are just like, this is our moment to shine and we're taking full advantage. So when I apply illuminator there, it really emphasizes them, kind of makes me look like I've been lifting my brows all day. Just trenches in the forehead, I tell you. But as you can see, when the light hits this highlight, it adds a really unique pop of dimension that plays up the baby pink on the cheeks. Just makes the whole face look refreshed. On the eyeballs, unless I'm super tired to the point where my eyes are sunken in, I just look like an absolute shit show, I will not apply eyeshadow. When I'm having those types of days, I really tend to apply a lot. I'll usually do a smoky eye, drag it really far down and out. I feel like it helps to conceal the eye bags because it makes the eyes look bigger, which in turn makes your eye bags look not so intense, deep, long. But on a day like today where the issue is that I simply just did not get enough hours of sleep, I really focus on the eyelashes rather than concealing things with makeup. It keeps things really fresh, really light, so I'm just going to be going in with the L'Oreal Voluminous Base to prep the lashes, and then going over that with the Voluminous Lash Paradise, which is their new mascara. It also happens to be waterproof. When I'm really tired, my eyes are drier and tend to water a lot throughout the day. I also will focus the mascara on my top lashes only to keep playing up on that lifted, awake look. But if you have puffy eyes, really going in and building up that mascara on your lower lashes as well is going to help to make your eyes look wide open and kind of distract from the puffiness. Last step is the lips. I usually will not go like nude on days where I need to detract from my night, my wild night. I recommend using a bright color on the lips just to wake up the face, have a pop of something that isn't near the tired areas like eyes, forehead. I feel like lips are perfect to play up in this instance. I am going to be going in with the Bite Lip Pencil in the shade 94. Just going to line my lips with this and then create a bit of a feathered look, which I usually will just do by rubbing them together 500 times or running my finger along my lip line and making them a bit more hazy. I feel like this lends to the fact that we're not trying to look like we try too hard, but it also is quite trendy at the moment to have a less than sharp lip line. So not only will you be keeping up with the trendy makeup situation, but you're also just sticking within that I just slapped this on an effortlessly awake and beautiful vibe. So that is the lip. I really like how it just looks like I kind of slapped it on, rubbed my lips together, ran out the door. That's what I'm going for. But yeah, that's today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope these tips help you out. I hope that you are blessed with quiet neighbors. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments below. Looking for some ideas. I've been a bit uninspired lately, so I would appreciate your feedback, and we will talk again in my next video.